evening, Kelly. Welcome to the Rachel Holmes podcast. Hope you're well.
Thank you.
We are talking about Reformer, Level 3 Reformer, first of all. So we've been running this qualification now since November, December. When did we start?
Yeah, so we started before Christmas with our pilot group.
Yes,
Because this is a brand new qualification that YMCA Awards have launched. We were one of the first in the country to launch it as a company. Trialed that with a small group, first of all, and then since then, we've just been chipping away.
We have. We've run it as a live, and we've been running it as a blended qualification. And I think this is a good point to chat about, really. What is a blended qualification? What does a blended qualification mean? And how does that look to the learner? Because the question I get, the same as you get on socials, is, how can you do reformer training online? How does it work? Give us the nuts and bolts of it. People always want to know that. So if we want to just dip into what an actual blended qualification is and how it works, if you want to just give us an overview, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, so we've done it both ways. We've done it with the contact day. We've delivered that live where we were at Bloom Studio, and obviously all the learners came to us and we delivered that contact day, with them face to face, going through the qualification and obviously giving them the opportunity to be able to practice the moves, learn the moves. And essentially those learners, even though they did that live contact, they will then still have online contact days. Like we've got another one coming up this week where they will jump on a Zoom with me to go through. And that's where we can go through touch point, we can go through Q&A, we can go through the assessment criteria, answer any questions, make any, give any support that they might need. Then the other way that we've done it is blended, where there isn't a live contact day, but the contact day is on Zoom. So I know when people see the course advertised that they will be like, like they've said, how can you do it all online? Da, 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 da. But for many people, it works so well because they can't give up 6 weeks or coming every weekend to a venue for 4 weeks, 6 weeks on the trot to be able to learn in a studio environment. And what they do instead is they will be given contact day with me where they have touch points. And that's not just one. We catch up on a regular basis with our learners. Sometimes that's in a small group. Sometimes that is one-to-one, just to make sure that, they're progressing with regards to the qualification. They then have all learning online. So they have our Choreographytogo dashboard where they have got all of the learning material on there. So from the perspective of learning all of the moves, they've got either videos from myself or you going through absolutely everything, from all of the health and safety, from when we first approach the reformer, understanding the geography of the reformer, all the way through to being able to plan and put you together your class, all of the kind of contemporary moves used on the reformer, and then obviously putting together your closing phase of your reformer class, and then how you would then progress that over a set period of time. They then have to log 20 hours worth of their own personal practice, which gives them such an experience. And every single learner has said this, the 20 hours of logging, of them going to their own classes, 20 hours of that, being a participant, they've learned so much, which is amazing. And then they also have to film not just an assessment video, but they actually have to film themselves practicing. So doing a bit of self-practice, filming themselves so that they can critique themselves, but also from an assessor point of view, I can actually watch them so that I can see them progressing, just the same way I would do if they were in a live studio and I was seeing them over a set period of weeks. So it's blended because it's contact, whether or not that's online via Zoom, one-to-one Zoom calls, group calls, or live. And then the rest is done online, where they're learning and they're going away, they're practicing, they're doing their own personal practice, and they're completing their portfolio online.
So essentially, Kelly, it's people are doing it completely self-paced. We're giving them the contact points. They are getting a certain amount of information. They're getting to a certain point with the course and the qualification. Then they go away, study, practice. Then they come back to you again, touch base with you. You check their work, they go through it, and then they move on. So they're moving on in stages, completely self-paced. So it works really, really well, doesn't it? It's that approach where you read the information, you have the manual, you talk to you decide to do a certain section of the qualification, you go away and do that, you do your practice, you log all of that, you come back to you for the next stage. So you're with everybody step by step of the way. So and you can go through this as quickly or as slowly as you want to. You can completely take it at your own pace. And the other thing to highlight is we didn't write this course. We didn't create this course. The whole of the level 3 is been created and written by the YMCA, the awarding body. And they are extremely meticulous on how we deliver. They've sat in on our deliveries. They look at all of our learners. They talk to our learners. They look at the work that's being done so far. So it's very controlled. It's a very controlled qualification, isn't it? It's a meaty qualification. I think there's a lot of work to do in the level 3. There's a lot of paperwork to do. There's a lot of steps to do, isn't there? It's probably, out of all the qualifications that we run, I think it might be up there as one of the biggest and the most amount of workload. Would you say so?
Yeah, for sure. If they're doing the full qual, which includes not just group, but also the one-to-one aspect, it is meaty. It is a lot of work to do. If they're doing just the group without the one-to-one, which some of our learners are doing, and those are learners that don't actually have to hold level 3 Pilates qualification. They can be a level 2 group exercise instructor with either ATM, group training. They could also be a level 3 yoga instructor. We had that approved recently, that those learners could come on board and do the group qualification because they already teach group, so they can teach group reformer. It's not obviously as much as doing the full one-to-one aspect of it, but YMCA, and obviously they go through it with a fine-tooth comb. We have to make sure all of our learners are very, very competent. And not only are they submitting worksheets, session plans, they're understanding about the history of the reformer, they're doing their own personal practice, they're filming their own personal practice. They're also having to have professional discussions to actually clarify that this is their work. This is the work that they're submitting, that they're doing, and that this is actually those people. So it's very standardized throughout the whole qualification.
It really is. So this is for, I think the level 3 reformer qualification is for somebody that wants that level 3, that wants to gain that certification. The other important thought that we need to talk about is for the assessment, apart from the work that you needed to do for the assessment, you also need to record yourself teaching 6 people in a class. And we found that has been, it's quite difficult for some people that maybe are going to teach in a studio that maybe has 4 reformers, 5 reformers, or maybe they're focusing on just having a couple of reformers at home. So that's something to bring to everybody's attention, that you do need to be able to access 6 reformers with 6 bodies for the actual assessment, don't you?
Yeah, that's correct. That's for the group side of things. Obviously, for the one-to-one, it's just you and one client that you're filming and that you're planning for. But with the group side of things, they are planning 2 sessions, a beginner session and an improver session, and they're filming them, one of those sessions, like you said, with a minimum of 6 participants.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you are a qualified group exercise teacher, if you are running group exercise classes and you've been doing that for a number of years, you understand human movement, you understand how the body moves, you understand muscle actions, you understand biomechanics, teaching skills, coaching skills. This is not a difficult qualification to gain. There is a lot of work to do and a lot of study work to do, but it is just around, you'll be training somebody, human movement on a different piece of equipment. It's just learning that equipment, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's so interesting though. I mean, I did a professional discussion with a learner this morning who is on this qualification, and he actually said, I'm just absolutely loving everything I'm learning. And I'm actually taking the ideas on the reformer, but I'm putting them into my conventional Pilates classes because I can kind of cross it across in a way, thinking about, different pulleys, working with bands in that way. It's propelled his teaching in Pilates that he teaches on a regular basis. So if you're an instructor and you're teaching within a health club that actually has got a reformer studio, or you are teaching in a Pilates studio that's got a reformer studio, this would be easy because you've got those people in front of you. You've got a studio that's already got those beds ready.
Yeah, 100%. So let's switch gears and talk about fitness Pilates reformer and how it differs to the level 3. So if you want to go give us a bit of an overview on fitness Pilates, and then we can look at the differences between the two certifications, because that's generally an inquiry that we're getting all the time now, isn't it? Which shall I do? Shall I do fitness Pilates reformer? Shall I do the level 3? So if you give us an overview of the course, and then we can give our sort of ideas around who or what each course would be best for.
Yeah, so obviously the level 3 was written by YMCA, and it's endorsed and approved by YMCA awards. Our fitness Pilates obviously is written by us, and it's endorsed by EDM UK, which is the national governing body here in the UK for our industry, for the fitness industry. And I think this is really only for fitness Pilates instructors or Pilates instructors that hold level 3 relevant qualification in Pilates. So no sort of group exercise instructors coming onto this in any way. But this would be for those instructors who have been teaching Pilates or fitness Pilates. They've got a real good understanding of, like you said, human movement. They've got participants in there in front of them. Maybe they want to work, and maybe they've got a reformer, in their home. They want to work on a one-to-one with a client, or work again on small group, and they want to gain the fitness Pilates certification in this. These currently at the moment, we've only run these online. Again, it's blended learning. So learners come, they experience a Zoom day with myself and you. They take in all of the information. They can see us working on the reformer live. They've got their fully comprehensive dashboard. So again, once they've had the contact touch point day, they go away, they take on board all of the learning that's on the videos. Again, they have to do 20 hours worth of logging for their own personal practice. And again, that is just worth its weight in gold to get on the reformer, practice for yourself. But they don't have to film a group teaching, them teaching a group. What they can do is they can just film themselves on the reformer, going through everything. Or they could have one client, or maybe a couple of clients, depending if they've got the beds from there. And they can work on completing their session plans instead, doing their personal practice, and then filming that video. And they don't actually have to film a full hour class like you do on the level 3. The video can be in sections, so they can show us the health and safety, getting on and off the reformer, show us their preparation phase, warm up, show us a main move in a bit more detail, so they can do it in bite-sized chunks, which might be more appropriate for some learners.
100%, absolutely. And on the contact days, they are live, they're on Zoom. You and I teach it together. We go through the reformer, safety, all the different positions, all the different exercises, regressions, progressions, health and safety, how to put a safe and effective reformer class together, how to progress, how to manage different abilities. And it's a pretty comprehensive day. You don't need a reformer to attend the course, because we go through it all there. You're watching us. And then, as Kelly said, we've got all of the little videos of each exercise. We've filmed everything. We've done all the lectures, all the workshops. They're all there. So once they've done the contact days again, your time is spent studying, watching all the online videos, and then your practice, your 20 hours of practice. And we recommend going to classes, having some one-to-ones, go to as many different classes as you can, different teachers, because it's evident that there's so many people teaching reformer, and they're all teaching it in really different and unique ways. They've all been trained by different schools. So it's a really good opportunity to go and try different styles and see what style you like, what you enjoy, what works for you, and feel it as a participant. What does this actually feel like? And then you just get so much experience from that, and you can put that all together and then create, your class, your technique, your style with your personality. I think both courses, both qualifications, obviously completely valid. So it depends on your budget first, how much time you've got, what your outcome is. What do you want to do once you've got your reformer certification, fitness Pilates, whether it's something at home, maybe you're going to work for a studio, maybe you're going to work in a bigger studio, maybe you're going to set your own studio up. We've had so many people do fitness Pilates reformer who have then invested and got their own studio, which is phenomenal, isn't it? I think there was one we did, everybody had got their own studio, hadn't they, in that
it's definitely having its moment at the minute. And I don't know, like, I've never really experienced, I suppose, anything else like this in the industry, where it's had such a moment that's had an impact. We know that there's been classes that have come into the industry, everyone teaches them, they've gone boom, and then possibly within a couple of years they've fallen by the wayside. But not something like this, where people have actually opened a studio purposely for this moment in time to have these reformers. I mean, I went to my solicitors the other day, and where I went in a town near us, it's only a small town, St Neots, and on the market square next door to my solicitors, next door was a reformer studio, and I was like, that wasn't there literally last week. That's them new.
It's quite amazing. I mean, we are both speaking to, people are ringing us all every week now saying, right, I'm opening a studio. Okay, that's great. When? 3 weeks. Can you help us? Can you train us? It's pretty wild how it's, and again, I'm in the East Midlands, but it's not London, it's not Surrey, it's not Essex. And, in a radius of where I am, I know that there's at least 7 studios, with another 3 that are coming on board in the next few weeks. So it's a fascinating landscape, an absolutely fascinating landscape. And so much to go at, is whether it's social media led, whether it's just, the sort of the Instagram, TikTok leg. I don't know why it suddenly boomed so quickly, but we are seeing people not just do the course and buy a reformer. They are literally leasing commercial space and they're going for it. They're ordering the beds and they're up and running. And there's just so few teachers, so many studios opening up at such pace, and there's not the qualified teachers to actually teach in those studios, which is why I think the training courses are just so busy. I mean, since October, November, our courses, people are inquiring all the time. Every day we're getting inquiries about it. People are wanting to know how fast they can train. That's the question that we get. How quick can I do it?
All of the learners who were on level 3 this weekend, all of them want to go on and teach reformer. If we'd have been speaking to people a year ago, this time, everyone would be doing level 3 Pilates in order to be able to just teach Pilates. They would just be thinking about setting up their own classes in village halls, or going to work in private studios, or working for health clubs. But they weren't thinking any more. But then this weekend, everyone was like, we're doing our level 3 because we want to go on and do our reformer training. Yeah. It's like, wow.
And out of that group for the level 3 this week, half of those were not weren't working in the fitness industry. A few were working in the fitness industry. The others weren't, were they? They were coming straight in to do, their goal was to do level 3 mat and then go on and do level 3 reformer, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And it's like we said, it's such an interesting time. I mean, again, I noticed in the Facebook group today, studios were advertising, we need new instructors to be able to teach reformer. We've got a placement for 2 reformer instructors. If anyone is qualified, send your details. People are like I said, opening these studios and essentially might not have enough instructors for the amount of classes that are required. All the big health clubs are getting reformer studios in. If they haven't already, it's coming within the next couple of months for sure.
Oh, yeah, for
So
sure.
there's work. There's a lot of work out there.
There is a lot of work, and what we've noticed from speaking to studio owners, they are willing to pay, because the cost of a reformer class is in excess of sort of 16, 18, 20, 24 pounds, depending where you are around the country. They are generating a bigger cash flow. They want great instructors, and so far, they are willing to pay instructors, more than the big box gyms and the operators are. So it is an interesting landscape. I put a post on social media last week just saying, was other people seeing this around the country? There were literally hundreds of comments on that post from people saying, yeah, there's 5 reformer studios opening in my town. There's 6 reformer studios opening in my town. So we can see that this is a huge, it's completely now crossed over onto, although we've all been teaching Pilates for 20 years plus, it's completely mainstream now. So it's a very interesting landscape, and it's moving really quickly, isn't it? As we said, just from when we did level 3 in May to doing level 3 in July, asking everybody, I always come on and have a chat with everybody on the course and what you're going to do with this. All of them wanted to do reformer. Incredible out of a group. We've never had that before, have we?
No, it was just so mind-blowing. And I know me and you spoke afterwards, and we were just like, how crazy is that in the space of like a couple of months, that, the whole industry and the vibe that people want to do from doing their Pilates training is just completely changed. Instead of getting learners who want to teach Pilates, we're getting learners who want to teach reformers. So they're learning that in order to then go on to do their reformer.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then again, with fitness Pilates, we've had a lot of fitness Pilates instructors who've jumped on. They're doing their fitness Pilates with us. Maybe they've got a home studio, maybe they've got a garden studio, and they're going to have 2 or 3 reformers in their garden studio. We've had a lot of people do that. We've had a lot of people who have just invested in one reformer and they're working one-to-one with clients. There's the potential for this is huge for rehab. It's just such a perfect piece of equipment to help somebody that's got knee replacement, hip replacement, joint problems, menopause. Postnatal. There's just, it's huge what you can do with the equipment, isn't it? And the amount of people that can use the equipment.
Absolutely. Like, not to talk about another qualification, but some of our level 3 menopause learners, students, are doing their assessments. And when they're doing their assessments for their one-to-one menopause client, it's on the reformer, and that's what they're doing. And it's like, the client comes in and has these needs and these wants, and the instructor is putting together then reformer-led menopause sessions. And it's like, wow.
It is fantastic, yeah. And I do think, not to talk about another qualification, but we've got the wellness qualification that's coming down the road very, very soon that we're very excited about. And I think this is all going to fit together. So, if you're doing one-to-one or small group, you do your assessment, you do an analysis with your clients, what they want, what their goals are, and then maybe part of their training is reformer with you. Maybe it's, it's massage, maybe it's coaching. I think this is where in the next few months, we're going to see all those elements sort of come together: PT, coaching, wellness, nutrition, reformer, Pilates, stress management, recovery. It's all sort of heading in this same direction, isn't it? It's very exciting. I think we're going to see some big changes.
And I think as well for, our kind of demographic with working with peri to post menopause women, myself being perimenopause, if I think about, for me as a client, what would I want? Well, I'd want, I would want, and I have one-to-one reformer sessions, and I have, strength training sessions. That is realistically essentially my needs are. So there's such a big gap now where you're going to have clients, I'm speaking to potential learners who will want to get away from maybe doing, I don't know, HIIT training, boot camps, things like that. And they're going to want to be on the reformer, and they want to get strong, and they want to be strong but safe.
I agree. And I also think that, you and I both work with so many fitness professionals that we've worked with for decades. We've got the supporter group, we've got all the learners that we've trained over the years. Between us, we've trained thousands and thousands of instructors and group exercise teachers. And many sadly disappeared after the pandemic and didn't come back into the industry. We are seeing many of our peers retiring and getting ready to retire. We are seeing quite a few of our peers now who are struggling with injury because they, overuse injury, knee problems, hip problems from doing a lot of high impact in the 90s and the 2000s. But now, reformer, you don't do the class, you're coaching, you're teaching, you're not physically on the reformer. This potentially presents itself as a real viable financially and physical route to continue teaching, because you're not physically having to do anything. It really does rely, and the best reformer teachers, really are teachers. They're teaching, they're coaching, they are bringing the best out of their students. They understand anatomy, they understand biomechanics, they understand the reformer. They've got great personalities. They are the reformer teachers that are doing phenomenally well at the moment. So many fit pros that we know who have got vast experience in teaching group exercise, but maybe we're thinking, I might be at the end of this now, I'm coming to the end of the career potentially, although I love teaching. I think reformer now presents itself just at the right time, where I think some of those amazing fit pros that potentially may have or be thinking about leaving the industry won't leave the industry. And I'm hoping that they will channel their energies into reformer, because this is perfect for those instructors, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, those instructors that potentially might not be able to, we get it all the time when we teach our Pilates qualifications, whether that's level 3, level 4, or fitness Pilates. We get instructors that say, I don't want to jump around anymore. I can't jump around anymore. I need a hip replacement. I need a knee replacement. I've got a problem with my back, blah, blah, blah. And they're wanting to diversify. But even sometimes with teaching Pilates, because it's mat-based, they still might not be able to do, the whole class. Whereas with reformer, the fantastic sessions that I've done one-to-one with my very good friend Danny, and, group training sessions, those instructors, they don't need to get on the reformer. They can teach everything so articulate, and they really are attentive and give you that coaching that you need. It's fabulous. But also as well, on a complete flip side of that, the world is sport mad at the moment with Wimbledon, Formula One, Silverstone we were at last weekend. These big sports professionals, they are all on reformers. Doing reformer. I need that gig, Rach. F1 drivers, reformer. Please.
We'll see what we can do. You know what, isn't it? It's a really exciting landscape right now. The fitness industry is. I think it's very positive, very optimistic. There's a lot of opportunity. And, as you said, we've seen lots of trends come and go, but this is a trend. Well, it's not a trend. It's here. It's right on top of us now. And it's just like a runaway train at the moment. And it's fascinating to see how this is going to play out, both from a teacher training perspective, from studios opening up, from it opening up new career paths for veteran instructors and new teachers. There was very few new teachers coming into the industry, They were not coming in. They weren't teaching group exercise. We were getting new teachers who were coming into maybe Les Mills, maybe they're teaching dance or Zumba, but not how it was in the 90s and the 2000s. This is completely different. We are seeing so many new young teachers coming through the door, and we need that. We need teachers all ages at the front of classes, not just reformer classes. We need people of all ages inspiring other people to move and keep fit and get strong and healthy. So I see this as just a win-win all round, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. It's like you said, it's a very, very exciting time. It's a time where if you're feeling like, you know, maybe you kind of felt a little bit overwhelmed by the industry, or maybe you felt a little bit deflated. I mean, I speak to instructors all the time about, you know, feeling that kind of overwhelmed but deflated and exhausted because they're teaching, they're having to, like, you know, learn all this choreography for maybe pre-choreographed courses, and they're just exhausted, their body hurts, their knees hurt, you know, all of these things. This could be the avenue that you can go into.
Absolutely. It's exciting times. Okay, Kelly, we have been chatting for 30 minutes. I can't believe that. Well, if anyone's got any questions about either Fitness Pilates Reformer or Level 3, we've got a touch point day on Thursday for Level 3, which is the 17th. We've also got on the 23rd of July, we're running the next Fitness Pilates Reformer. So if any of this is of interest to you, or you want to have a chat, just send me or Kelly a WhatsApp. We watch the video, ask any questions that you have. We're happy to help. We're pretty much running, apart from in August, we're running the Level 3 and the Fitness Pilates Reformer mostly through the month. So you're going to get one of those or both of them pretty much through September, October, November. Because again, we're here to keep up with the demand. You know, there's a huge demand for this. So if you have any questions or comments, do let us know. We'd love to chat with you and let us know what your experiences are. And if you're already a reformer trained or you're thinking of reformer trained, let us know in the comments. But thanks, Kelly. Thanks for your time tonight. I appreciate it. I know it's late. I'll speak to you tomorrow.
See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.